the current Nigerian government and the Islamic Republic of Iran. I was a politician for 7 years, Piers, and I can tell when someone is lying and avoiding the truth. That's exactly what this foreign minister is doing, and shame on him for lying. Your hands are
whether
the
they're
one that's
Christian
covered
or
in blood,
Muslim.
not mine.
But we've seen you
Not mine.
many
I'm not
times.
denying the
And
Christian
guess
genocide,
what?
but you are.
It's not
Shame
going to
on you.
happen to Nigeria.
Shame on you.
Move on to your next project. Move on to your next, your disgrace to the Canadian nation. I'm shocked that you say that you actually practice as a
With people's lives. 7,000 Christians have been murdered in Nigeria.
I do not interrupt
7,000
you.
Christians have been
And,
murdered in
and
Nigeria. Who's playing
clearly
games with people's
does
lives?
not
It's
even
not
know
me.
whether Nigeria, the governor of Benue State, happens to be a man of the cloth. He's a reverend father. He's a Catholic. So you can see how it is impossible for him to be concealing what is happening. He would be screaming at the top of his voice if indeed there was some genocide or if there was some specific calculated targeting of Muslims, of Christians. But he knows there isn't, and that is why he is not doing so. Keep on insisting that he has not heard the figures. So that's what she's trying to do, start a war. They want to break up Nigeria the same way they broke up Sudan, and now they've run away. She's not talking about Sudan.
Oh, now, wow, my people, wonder shall never end. It's like, seriously, Donald Trump was right when he said that Nigeria is a country of shame. I just want people to see how shameful our foreign minister was when he was being interviewed by Perry Morgan. The video is a long video, though. I'm just going to put a very short clip there for you guys to take a tip of the nonsense he did online, disgracing himself, claiming that they are trying to break up Nigeria, trying to make Nigeria look like Sudan. Of course, he is a Muslim. So what do you think? He's going to support the movement that there's no Christian genocide in Nigeria. Without wasting your time, my brothers and sisters, I want you to watch the video for yourself and tell me what your reactions are in the comment sections. Please like, share, and subscribe. God bless you as you do that. Just watch the shameful show of our prime ministers, or our foreign minister. Enjoy the video.
MP Goldie Gamari, host of The Goldie Show, who has spoken out frequently at what she says is a genocide against Christians in Nigeria. Goldie Gamari, welcome to Uncensored. What is your response to the foreign minister of Nigeria, who says there is no genocide? The numbers of those who've been killed, number of churches attacked, has been wildly exaggerated?
Well, first of all, Piers, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. Piers, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it probably is a duck. There is a reason that we're seeing these Islamic militants going around and yelling Allahu Akbar. That's not by coincidence. There's a reason that they are attacking Christians on Christmas Eve. Let's not forget that back in 2014, almost 300 Christian schoolgirls were kidnapped by these Islamic militants. 80 of them, their whereabouts are still unknown. Piers, what's happening in Nigeria is jihad. It's the exact same thing that happened on October 7 by Islamists when they broke into Israel and murdered Jews, yelling Allahu Akbar. It's the exact same thing that ISIS terrorists did to the Yazidis in Iraq. It's the exact same thing that happened in Lebanon. Here's the only difference between what's happening today in Nigeria versus what happened 1,400 years ago when the Muslim Arab invaders came to Persia is that back then people did not have cameras, but today they do. It is 100% jihad. We've seen it before. This is how the Islamist playbook always happens.
Well, I don't think that the foreign minister was denying that bad things have been happening. He's just denying that it constitutes a genocide and that the numbers of reported
because his
deaths
government
of
is a part of it.
Of murders of Christians.
I think his government is complicit. Right now, you have an Islamist government in Nigeria. One of the things that he didn't mention to you is that typically it's been a constitutional convention in Nigeria that if the prime minister is Muslim, then if the president is Muslim, then the vice president is Christian. If the president is Christian, then the vice president is Muslim. This is intended to have a proper representation of the Nigerian population. Right now, you have a Muslim president, and then they decided to choose a Muslim vice president, and so there is actually no Christian Christian representation in the Islamist government. By the way, this is a government that is working closely behind the scenes with the Islamic Republic of Iran. You should ask the foreign minister why Nigerian school children are holding pictures of the Ayatollah, who is a brutal dictator and is murdering my people in Iran. People need to look into the linkages between the current Nigerian government and the Islamic Republic of Iran. I was a politician for 7 years, Piers, and I can tell when someone is lying and avoiding the truth. That's exactly what this foreign minister is doing, and shame on him for lying.
Foreign Minister, your response to that?
With all due respect to the lady, I'm sorry, I forget her name. She has already exposed her ignorance and lack of knowledge about Nigeria, and it's easy for her to sit thousands of miles away and play games with people's lives. These are real
I'm not the
lives
one playing games with people's lives. 7,000 Christians have been murdered in Nigeria. 7,000 Christians have been murdered in Nigeria. Who's playing games with people's lives?
Does not even know whether Nigeria has a president or a prime minister. You can see how she's waffling, she's stumbling. But this is typical of
I think you're showing your own ignorance. The fact that you're not able to actually counter what I'm saying, and instead you're going after these things that are irrelevant, that just shows how ignorant you are.
Saber rattling, trade in saber rattling, it is typical. You can see she's exposing herself. She doesn't even know the country that she's trying to start a crusade on, and drawing comparisons with Gaza. You know, it's clear what she's trying to do. We have a constitution that has, go and read my constitution before you even try to have a discussion with me. Look up sections 10, 38, and 42 of our constitution. There is federal character enshrined in our constitution. It's part and parcel of it. And the priority is the region where you come from, because we don't identify ourselves as Muslims and Christians in Nigeria. We identify ourselves from regions, geopolitical regions.
Christians disagree.
Place where we come from, and
but do you accept? All right, Foreign Minister. Foreign Minister, let me jump in. Let me jump in. Foreign Minister. Foreign Minister. Do you? Foreign Minister, if I may. Foreign Minister, if I may. Foreign Minister, do you accept that there is a big problem? You know, we can quibble over precise numbers, but you've already said by your own numbers over 100 Christian churches have been attacked. You won't commit to how many Christians have been killed. I think you're slightly hiding behind the fact you don't know what all their religion was. But you must know how many people have been killed.
I can give you figures. You did not ask me. I can give you figures of those that lost their lives
How many Christians have been murdered in Nigeria since 2009?
Since over the last 5 years, I can categorically tell you that 177 have been killed. And it does not mean that the killing.
But you said to me. You said to me earlier you did. Yeah, but hang on. Foreign Minister, with respect.
Muslims. They are not necessarily Muslims.
Foreign Minister.
To understand that.
Foreign Minister, with respect, earlier when I asked you that question, you said you didn't know the number because many of the people who've been killed, you didn't know what religion they were. So which is it?
Yes, so I am telling you, number killed when churches were attacked. I told you the number of the churches that were attacked.
Now, how many Christians? You misunderstood my question. How many? I want to know. Yes, but Foreign Minister, you have had United States senators like Ted Cruz saying publicly that at least 50,000 Christians have been murdered since 2009. If you're saying that number is wildly exaggerated, what is the number?
I keep giving you the numbers, but clearly, you are not.
You're not. You're giving me the numbers in the last 5 years.
Accept the numbers or even listen to what I'm saying. 102 177, number injured 98, number abducted 7. Okay, so we are not hiding any facts. But as I said, we don't go about trying to identify a Nigerian's faith when they've lost their lives. That is
but
not,
do you
that
condemn?
is not what Nigeria
do you condemn,
is about.
Foreign Minister? Do you condemn the attacks and the murder on Christians by Islamist groups in Nigeria?
Absolutely, 100%. I lost my father-in-law to an attack by an Islamic terrorist group, Boko Haram. So I myself am a victim. I've lost family members to attacks. And they were Muslims, but it doesn't matter whether they're Muslim or Christian, because their aim is to kill, to maim, so that they would achieve their objectives. And the number one enemy of Boko Haram is not a Christian. It is a Muslim who does not subscribe to their own brand of Islam.
Okay, I mean, Goldie Gamari, let me bring you back in there. I mean, there's no doubt that tens of thousands of moderate Muslims have also been murdered by Islamists. We can argue, you know, till the cows come home, frankly, about what the exact numbers are. But clearly, a lot of Christian churches have been attacked. So have a lot of mosques, where it is believed that the people who are, you know, observing their faith there are too moderate for the Islamists. So it seems like the Islamist groups like Boko Haram, like ISIS, are targeting pretty much anybody that they don't agree with, be that moderate Muslims or Christians. Is this not, as the foreign minister is putting forward, a case of it's not just Christians being targeted and persecuted, it's also moderate Muslims, and that there's a general wider problem with Islamist terrorism?
Well, there is definitely a problem with Islamist terrorism, but just because Muslims are being murdered, it does not negate the fact that there is a targeted ethnic cleansing of Christian Nigerians. One does not negate the other. What we can conclude from this is that there is definitely an Islamist problem. Now, one thing that the Nigerian minister is purposely forgetting to put out there is that it's not just Boko Haram, it's also the Fulani militants. Not a lot of people know about the Fulani militants. The Fulani Islamists are also the ones who are generally targeting the Christian Nigerians, especially in the Plateau Belt. And I've had several Nigerian Christians come on and speak about this. In fact, I have seen videos where you have the Fulani militants, on their motorcycles with machetes. They're driving through various towns, and you have the Nigerian military who's supposed to prevent them from going. They're getting orders to stand down and allow the Fulani militants to go through. Again, Piers, the loss of life is horrible. But as you can tell from the minister, he's avoiding questions. He's avoiding eye contact. Instead of actually answering the questions, he's focusing more on trying to attack me and trying to, go after me because I'm not as familiar with the Constitution. I don't need to be familiar with the Constitution of Nigeria to understand that, over 50,000 Christians have been murdered since 2009. I don't have to be familiar with the Constitution of Nigeria to know that when someone yells Allahu Akbar before they massacre 200 Christians and burn Christian churches, that's not just banditry, that's jihad. And I think the reason that the foreign minister does not want to admit this is because they are somehow complicit in this. And, he is purposely saying that he is willfully ignorant, because how could the Nigerian government not know if those people who have been murdered are Christian or Muslim? The reason that he's avoiding saying that is because if they actually put out formal numbers about the numbers of Christians targeted and murdered, then they will have to admit that there is a genocide. They don't want to admit that there's a genocide, but that's exactly what's happening. And I'm glad President Trump and others are calling it out.
Foreign Minister, finally, your response to that.
Well, like I said, the lady and people like her trade in starting wars in faraway places where they have no contacts, they have no understanding of, and they can do that from their armchairs from a safe distance. It's a real life situation. This lady would not know the difference between a Fulani man, a Tiv man, an Igbo man, if they stood in front of her. But you can see clearly overnight, because it pays, she's probably making money out of it. She
Actually, I'm
is
getting
out there
$0 for this.
trying to
I'm getting
start a
paid
war.
zero.
That's what she does. Excuse
I'm
me,
getting
I did
paid
not
zero for
interrupt
this.
you.
I have
I
been
did not
speaking out
interrupt.
against human rights
I did not
violations.
interrupt
Listen,
you
Piers,
when
as you
you
can
were
tell,
talking.
he's
But
not able
clearly
to
you
actually
can't stand the
answer
truth.
anything that I'm
And
saying.
as many
All he does
times
is
as
just
I would
attack
repeat
me
the
and attack my
figures,
credibility.
as many
So I
times
think
as I
this
would
shows the viewers
repeat the
exactly where the
figures,
Nigerian
she
government
is going
stands.
to keep on insisting that she has not heard the figures. So that's what she's trying to do. Start a war. They want to break up Nigeria the same way they broke up Sudan, and now they've run away. She's not talking about Sudan anymore. She's not talking about South Sudan.
I actually
I
have
bet
talked
she was
about
one of those
Sudan
that
in
was
other
agitating
episodes as well.
for Sudan to be dismembered. This is what they do. This is what they do. What they try to do to Africa. Nigeria is the largest country on the African continent. It is the largest shock absorber to the African continent in terms of admitting migrants, in terms of freedom of religion. It's Africa's largest democracy. But people like you, who don't really care about freedoms, about the freedoms of either Christians or Muslims or Africans, will continue to agitate for the breakup of Nigeria, for war, the same way that it's happening in South Sudan, and you've kept mum because you've moved on.
The reason that I know, that you are
the
working with the
is what
Islamic
you're
Republic of
concerned
Iran
about.
is because the
You
Islamic
don't care
Republic
about the loss
puts
of
out the
lives.
same
You
narrative
probably
about
don't even care.
balkanization.
You
That
probably don't.
balkanization narrative is
For all I
something
know,
that
you
the
probably
Islamists
don't even care
constantly use.
that Africans are losing their lives. To you, it's just another black country to be broken up. You don't care who dies.
Your hands
whether
are the
they're
one that's
Christian
covered
or
in
Muslim.
blood, not mine.
But we've seen you
Not mine.
many
I'm not
times.
denying the
And
Christian
guess
genocide,
what?
but you are.
It's not
Shame
going to
on you.
happen to Nigeria.
Shame on you.
Move on to your next project. Move on to your next, your disgrace. You're a disgrace to the Canadian nation. I'm shocked that you say that you actually practice as a politician in Canada. Move on to the next episode. Leave us alone.
Well, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you both very much indeed for joining me.